So you wonder what it's like to be an attorney? Well, in this video, I will show you exactly what it's like. The legal career is so varied that it makes a tremendous difference just what aspect of law you choose to go into. But I want to show you what a normal law life is like. I am a licensed attorney. I live in the state of Idaho. I went to law school in Florida, and let's dive into it. So the first thing to know is very few attorneys will go to court on a daily basis. In fact, there are many attorneys who will never step in a courtroom their entire careers, maybe even most. And that's because a lot of the process of law is transactional, and a lot of the process of law is working for a company avoiding legal issues rather than actually litigating them in court. For an attorney, being in court is a bad day because it means something has broken down in that company or that individual's life in order to get there. A lot of the practice of law is avoiding that kind of situation. And in fact, I've talked to lots of attorneys who have something that maybe they've been practicing for 15 years and they finally have a case that, they've got to go into court, and they dread it and they're nervous and they just hate it because for a lot of attorneys, it's not normal. Now, for other attorneys, especially if you do criminal defense, you may be in court 3 times a week. If you're a prosecutor, you may be in court almost every day. If you're a public defender, you may be in court every day. There are a lot of areas of law where you'll be in there constantly, but most you probably won't be in court all that much at all. Most lawyers are not really that rich. The phrase, when people talk about people that have a lot of money, they always say lawyers and doctors can afford that. Maybe the doctors can, but lawyers, most attorneys aren't making that much. There's a percentage of attorneys who make a huge amount of money and do very, very well. They're usually in corporate law. They're usually people who have hung out their own shingles and just have a killer DUI practice, and they're doing really well. But the vast majority, or they're public personal injury attorneys who just get a lot of clients. You can do extremely well in law, but the vast majority, 80% or more, really aren't doing that well. They're earning probably a little bit less than what the average accountant is. And so while it's a good career, it's probably not as lucrative as you think it is for the vast majority, especially if you want to have a good work-life balance. So definitely check out the video I did on this channel about the financial aspects of going to law school and if it's even smart as a career before you decide to go that way. All right. The biggest complaint among attorneys is billing. When attorneys are working for private individuals, you're sending out your billing, usually on 15-minute increments. And so every 15 minutes, you write down what document you're working on for what client, and you're billing them for it. And then the partners in the firm are always hounding you. It's like, we've got to work on your more billable hours, everything, and reducing all the other stuff you do so that you can bill the clients. And that's just really a frustrating way to work, that you're just, the vast majority of your time as an attorney, you're sitting at a desk on a computer and you're typing on documents. You're writing a petition, you're writing a complaint, you're writing a cease and desist, whatever. It's mostly working on documents on a computer is a lot of what the process of law is. You may be working with clients, or if you work for general counsel or something, you're working in-house for a company. You're working on overseeing legal documents or things that are happening in the company for legal compliance. It's a lot of paperwork to be an attorney. Really, any kind of attorney, you're going to be doing a lot of paperwork for people. Okay. Criminal defense and prosecutors have really high job satisfaction in general, but really low salaries in general. Again, some criminal defense attorneys can do very well if you get your practice set up, but a prosecutor who's working for the local county or even the federal government, depending on what you're doing, they can do okay at the end of their career, but in most states, they're not earning that much. You may start off at 65,000 and maybe work your way up to 90, something like that for a lot of prosecutors and public defenders, usually, or even less, unfortunately. But they have high job satisfaction. Being a prosecutor is dang fun. It really is enjoyable. Like, you care about your work, you're doing good for your community by putting the bad guys in jail. You hear the wildest stories as a prosecutor of stuff that's happening. And it's a collaborative environment, working with lots of other people in an office. So it really is a great satisfaction, but the income can hurt, especially if you're paying off big law school loans. And a criminal defender, the problem with being a criminal defender is you lose almost always. It's so frustrating because the prosecutor has the upper hand on everything. They don't have to prosecute the case at all. And they just have so many advantages in the case. It's tough to be a criminal defender because you're going to lose so often, that you're mostly about settling. And if you take it to trial, most of the time you're going to lose. So it's tough. And there is a lot of injustice there that you're fighting against. But anyway, it's a fun place to be in criminal law. You have to get about 120 hours of continuing legal education every 3 hours. At least that's what it is in Idaho. So even after you pass, the bar and you're a fully licensed attorney, you have to take continuing ed classes. You'll go to seminars and things like that. But you don't have to pass any tests. But it's something you do have to keep up over time. Okay, I already mentioned most lawyers spend 80 to 90% of their time on a computer. Most legal work is transactional. It's writing wills and contracts and things like that. Also, law is extremely adversarial by nature. And that's another thing that really wears people out in the practice of law, is just that the other side is waking up every day trying to figure out how to make your life miserable. What motions can I think of to slow this process down? What can I get someone to say that would make it seem this way? And so it's a very high stress and frustrating career to be in. And I think that's why so many people that even graduate law school aren't in the practice of law, including myself. I am a licensed attorney, but I started my own business doing other stuff, making YouTube videos and stuff, and it's been a lot more lucrative and a lot more fun. And a lot of attorneys find that they end up in non-traditional legal careers. But it is a good background to have no matter kind of which direction you go. So that's a little bit about what it's really like to be an attorney. Now, I have been super open and honest with you about what it's actually like. But you should know that some of you should go for it anyway. Because it's a wonderful career and you can do good things and it will stretch your mind like you wouldn't believe. But as a financial decision and as a job satisfaction decision, just go look at some stats. Statistically, you shouldn't do this. And so I just want to open your eyes to those issues.